Okay, thank you, Ustaz Karim and Ustaz Baha, and to you, all colleagues and co-learners present. I hope you can hear me clearly now, and I'm not confident in the internet. Maybe it can go down at any moment. Please first allow me to use certain regional and local expressions, Ustaza and Ustaz, as titles of respect we exchange here in Sudan, and also allow me to use an expression I coined to refer to colleagues and UNOVs, United Nations Online Volunteers, who work together with me. This word is co-learners, because in the process we have together, we are learning together, and we believe that learning is a bi-directional, or in fact multi-directional process. This is Imad Hassanein, the OCHA Sudan translator. I would like to give a brief overview of a transliteration success story of a team of UN online volunteers recruited and trained online by OCHA Sudan Translation Unit. UNOCHA is the UN office to coordinate humanitarian affairs in countries where there are crises. Coordination is essentially multi-directional, communicating among different partners who speak different languages, and translation goes parallel to coordination. In recent years, there have been growing humanitarian needs in Sudan, particularly in this year, which have been very tough, because in East Sudan has witnessed multiple crises here. So, well, Sudan has witnessed multiple crises in 2020. These include political tensions, economic crisis, IDPs in Darfur and two areas, the first and second waves of COVID-19, torrential rains and floods, Ethiopian refugees influxing beginning in November, and growing humanitarian needs in the Sudan. As with this, you have a parallel increase in translation requests, which I call it overflow, because it is more than I can. It is more than the capacity of the translation unit. So with a limited capacity, only one full-time translator, OCHA Sudan Translation Unit, acted on a tip and reached to the UN Online Volunteer Portal you have just seen, who were quick to respond, and in a few hours, our first translation task went online. I soon had email notifications pouring into my inbox of UNOVs applying. And given the extra burden of processing these applications, screening of applicants, and corresponding with the successful ones, I grew more skeptical as I started questioning the whole process. Shall I save my time and do the tasks myself? On the other hand, I had an approach to team corporate translation that necessitates some form of relatively long advanced training. So I thought it would not be feasible to train tens of UNOVs just to accomplish a few pages of translation, and then to post yet another ad to start from scratch with another batch. I told myself and my boss in a meeting that I had better abandon it all and try to do the tasks myself. But I remembered the weighty work pressure increasing. So I decided to give a try to the UNOV light at the end of the tunnel. Pressed ahead with some modifications to accommodate the Information Technology Resourceful Translation Approach, ITRTA, training and make it feasible. So I reached out to the UN volunteers, in fact, to the UN volunteers online volunteering, a new platform. We had 4 social media channels, experimented with some platforms, and because of the sanctions imposed on Sudan, and because the demoed versions of the online platforms were only available under certain time limits, we opted to use Skype. for it is free and is being developed to offer most of the features of other costly platforms. And above all, it is available in most countries through or under VPN, and it can accommodate more audience. So I'd like to give you some UNV's stats. The number of UNOVs applied exceeded 200, but the selected were around 120, of whom over 80 subscribed to the online platforms. The active participants in both batches, batch A and batch B, is almost 50. Yes, or over 50, a bit over 50. Batch A, BAs, and batch B, Bs inclusive. And OCHA translation unit discussed it with batch A, and it was agreed to make some modifications in the procedures. The batch would remain for 2 months to be rigorously trained and rehearse on a series of diverse tasks. And after the 2 months elapse, they would be eligible for the UNOV Certificate of Achievement, in addition to a more elaborate letter of appreciation, giving more details of the online training besides their various achievements, in addition to pledge for reference should they apply for a job slot in a translation career. I would like also to comment on these figures. You see here, from a gender parity point of view, the 75% of females and 25% males. I don't know whether this kind of can be considered as affirmative action or not. We had evening. The training was virtually online, as I said, and every evening, Sundays through Wednesdays, from 21:15 to 22:15, there is a teleconference training session where an information technology resourceful translation approach, ITRTA, is demonstrated and tasks rolled out, and discussions and feedback are given. The ITRTA is essentially a vision for online team and corporate translation based on the overarching concept of engage, empower, and unleash. So these are the basic principles for the ITRTA approach for translation or corporate translation, as I said. There are 3 UNOVs task types. The general, mostly of periodic products such as the OCHA Sudan Digital Situation Report, and the extra tasks such as ad hoc assignment. And here my batches of UNVs have done everything they can so as to learn and practice new skills. Here they have done some transcription for videos, and have also started doing the transliteration as well as the normal and general tasks of translation and proofreading. And the third category is the exclusive or landmark one, such as the focus of our story today. The task in focus of our success story is a joint Ministry of Education and UNICEF one, a landmark task, a database of almost 20,000 schools in Sudan, requested jointly by the Sudan Ministry of Education and UNICEF Sudan, that requires unique combination of transliteration, phonetic transcription, as well as translation. When I was first asked about it, I thought it was a formidable one. That is too long and too much for a team of translators, let alone an individual one. In the evening of that day, I tabled it before the UNOVs attending the evening session, and we agreed it was a challenging one, but we all got a telepathic insight that challenges bring opportunities. So our regular attendees of these, I admit, somewhat boring training sessions in the evening was often of 11 to 13 UNOVs. And since that evening, the number of attendees started to grow until it culminated to 25 the evening we rolled this landmark task out. And before that evening, there were exploratory meetings to discuss possible scenarios of how to tackle it. I was overwhelmed, to say the least, that with proposals until we opted for a proposal by Ustaz Wahid Kamalian, a UNOV from United Arab Emirates. And those meetings were followed by further preparatory meetings, including an official meeting that convened in a virtual platform and included representatives from UNICEF and OCHA, along with Ustaz Wahid Kamalian, the UNOV representative. So, since that official meeting, the UNOVs were literally fully in charge of the task. And seeing that till then they had received ample training and practicing, I was confident they were heading for a remarkable success, and they did it. So Ustaz Wahid, tapping on his outstanding computing soft skills, was orchestrating the work, supported with flank or unflanked by Ustaz Ahd Musa, a Sudanese UNOV based in Malawi, and Ahd proved to be of excellent translation management and Microsoft Excel soft skills. And Ustaza Ilham Al-Umrani, a Moroccan UNOV of an engineering architecture background by training, who turned out to be a software power automation genius. And Ustaza Imtinan Hamid, a Sudanese translator, and also a Sudanese UNOV with excellent translation and management capacities, who possesses expert knowledge of IT/RTA, as she had participated in earlier exercises of this corporate translation approach. Now, this landmark task involves 3 phases, roughly speaking. And so this group of 4 UNOVs managed the work together during the initial and intermediate stages. The first stage, the translation and transliteration of some 20,000 entries of basic schools in Sudan, performed by 25 UNOVs. Then comes the proof reading of some 20,000, yes. Again, the same entries were proofread by the same number of UNOVs. And finally comes the refinement of some, the same file was also tackled by, but this time it was tackled by 8 Sudanese UNOVs. And of course, the bulk of the work was done by the whole team of 25 UNOVs, whose names appear on this slide, alphabetically arranged. I am indebted to them all for their professional performance and meeting the deadlines and working at high qualitative caliber. I believe they have collectively made a historical achievement, contributing towards digitizing the work of the Sudan's Ministry of Education in support of the UNICEF and its project to achieve the sustainable development goals of the millennium. Because we are talking of militias a lot. So the steps towards this UNICEF Sustainable Development Goals and of the millennia, in fact, include one of them is to enable the capacities for electronic governance. And I shouldn't overlook a special thanks to the group of Sudanese UNOVs, as I said, the 8 of them, who, tapping on their excellent knowledge of the place names in their country, undertook the final and most crucial stage. Yes, this is a success story, and this, allow me, this success story also appeared in the UN official report in this article in both English and Arabic, whose link appears here in the chat box. I also will provide it, if that's possible, in the chat box in this presentation. Upon a tip I received from Ustaz Ahd, and I also caught the festivities of the UNV International Day and shared links to this article in all social media outlets I am subscribed to, so as to showcase this remarkable UNOV achievement. And these are the links available. And yes, thank you for this slot to speak to you, and thank you for being here. And that's it from my side, and back to you, Ustaz Wahi.